Thank you, Ajay sir. Now I request Honorable Vice Chancellor of Maharaja Agarsen University, who is a support system of our university, Professor Dr. R.K. Gupta sir, to welcome our chief guest and the dignitaries present here. Please, sir.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I congratulate everyone on the occasion of this International Yoga Day. When on this auspicious occasion, Maharaja Agarsen University is going to launch a one-week FDB program on use of ICT in blended mode of pharmacy of education. I feel extremely honored to welcome and introduce our worthy Chancellor, Dr. Nand Kishore Garg, who is a social worker and ex-parliamentary secretary and general secretary BJP Delhi. The university has made a tremendous progress with their support and motivation. His vision of access to education and learning to all has constantly inspired us to take every possible pathway that every student and faculty member gets equal opportunity in their lives. I also feel honored to welcome our today's chief guest, Dr. B. Suresh, who is President, Pharma Council of India, New Delhi, and he is also Pro-Chancellor, JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research, Mysore. Dr. Suresh became the President of the Central Council for the first time in 2003. He is the first academician elected to the post of PCI President in 2003. Later, in 2008 and 2013, he was unanimously elected to the top post, that is top post. Dr. B. Suresh was elected President of PCI for fourth consecutive time in 2018. For the past 35 years, he has been actively involved in uplifting the standards of pharmacy education and profession in India. It was during his tenure as president that the Pharma Practice Regulation PPR 2015 was notified by the PCI. Similarly, Dr. Suresh was instrumental in launching the International Pharmacy Education Program, Doctor of Pharmacy in India. Professor B. Suresh assumed charge as Pro-Chancellor, JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research, Mysore in June 2019. Dr. B. Suresh was the founding Vice Chancellor of JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research, Mysore, a deemed university. Dr. Suresh is also the delegate member of the United States Pharmacopoeia Convention and also the member of the Council of Convention of the USP. He is also the member of ACPE International Services Commission USA and is the executive member of Commonwealth Pharmaceutical Associations. Still, there's a big list of his achievements. So I welcome you, sir, that you have spared your valuable time for our Maharaja Agharsen University. I also welcome other eminent speakers who are going to contribute for this 1 week workshop or FDP program. Dr. Kamla Pathak, Dean, Faculty of Pharma, Uttar Pradesh University of Medical Sciences, SEFE, Etawah. Dr. Vijay Bhalla, Principal, SGT College of Pharmacy, SGT University, Gurugram, and Treasurer, Indian Pharma Graduate Association, New Delhi. Dr. G. Jayavalam, Principal, Alwar Pharmacy College, Alwar, and ex-Dean, Rajasthan University of Health Sciences, Jaipur. Dr. G.D. Gupta, Director, ISF College of Pharmacy, Moga. Dr. M.D. Salahuddin, Principal, Farokhi College of Pharmacy, Mysore, Karnataka. And all other participants who are going to attend this FDP program for 1 week. As you know, the aim of organizing such type of FDP is to enrich knowledge of faculties in an institute through interaction with eminent personalities from the industries and academia. The knowledge sharing will improve the teaching learning process to the students and benefit the society. Nowadays, especially in COVID days, there is a need for self-innovation and creativity development in faculties and students. All faculties should motivate their students for innovation and creative ideas. They should always encourage their students to think out of the box and also keep on trying the new methodology in class to make them interested. Faculty members are playing a very important role in the changing scenario and providing knowledge on the importance of science and technology in today's education world. The students should allow learning the way they want to, as nowadays the students have different perspective towards the things. The teacher should not be specific to the syllabus-oriented teaching. Instead, faculty must have to use different pedagogy in their teaching for better output. The faculties in today's world is to create right attitude into the students. The world outside is a multi-dimensional world, and the main role of a teacher is to train the students in such a way that they can easily adjust in the outside multi-dimensional world with the right wisdoms. I congratulate to the organizers and this whole team for conducting this faculty development program. I hope this FDP will be very interactive and innovative for all the faculty members and the participants, and they will go their homes after learning a lot from this platform. I once again very thankful to Dr. Nand Kishore Garg and Dr. B. Suresh for sparing their valuable time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now I request Honorable Chancellor of Maharaja Agharsen University, Dr. Nand Kishore Garg, sir, to motivate our learned participants on the occasion of inaugural ceremony of EFDP program. Sir, we always seek your guidance under your broad vision. So please guide us with your words of knowledge and give your blessings to all of us. Please, sir.
अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योग दिवस के शुभ अवसर पर आप सबको बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। हमारे आज के उद्घाटनकर्ता डॉक्टर बी सुरेश, जो फार्मेसी काउंसिल के चेयरमैन भी हैं, और सबसे अच्छी बात है कि जीएसएस एकेडमी मैं जिसको बहुत रिस्पेक्ट देता हूँ, क्योंकि गाजियाबाद में भी इनका एक कॉलेज है इंजीनियरिंग का, और जो संत महात्माओं द्वारा स्थापित ये पूरी इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, ये ही इस देश की प्रोग्रेस करने में बहुत बड़ा योगदान देती है। और बी सुरेश जी, मैं ये भी बता दूं कि हम भी इस प्रकार की जो संस्थाएं चला रहे हैं, महाराजा अग्रसेन यूनिवर्सिटी, महाराजा अग्रसेन मेडिकल कॉलेज अग्रवा में, महाराजा अग्रसेन हॉस्पिटल की चेन है, महाराजा अग्रसेन स्कूल्स हैं, जितने भी वैश्य के नाम से, अग्रवाल के नाम पर पूरे देश में संस्थाएं हैं, और बेंगलोर में भी हमारे साथियों ने एक हॉस्पिटल बनाया है अभी। तो हम भी सेवा करने के लिए ये सब काम कर रहे हैं, नॉट फॉर प्रॉफिट बट फॉर द सर्विस ऑफ द मैनकाइंड। ये सब काम करते हुए आज के युग में बहुत एक डिफिकल्टीज हैं, लोग ये मानते ही नहीं कि कोई आदमी बिना पैसे के भी कोई सेवा कर सकता है। परंतु आप लोग देखेंगे, और कभी दिल्ली आए नॉर्थ साइड पर, तो दिल्ली के भी हमारे संस्थाएं मैं आपको दिखाऊंगा। फार्मेसी को मैं ये समझता हूँ कि बैकबोन है, और जहाँ हमारा यूनिवर्सिटी है वो तो एक किस्म से फार्मेसी का एक देश का सबसे बड़ा मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेंटर है। और मैं चाहूँगा सुरेश जी, आप जैसे लोग और जितने भी हमारे भल्ला जी, जया बालन जी, जीडी गुप्ता जी, कमल पाठक जी, सलाउद्दीन साहब, ये सब हमारे कीनोट जो स्पीकर हैं, और बाकी सब एकेडमिशियन रिसर्चर हैं। फार्मेसी को एक बड़ा प्लेटफॉर्म बनाकर इसको एलोपैथिक तक सीमित ना रखें, क्योंकि फार्मेसी बेसिकली हमारा जो प्राचीन ज्ञान है आयुर्वेद का, तिब्बी का, सिद्धा का, उन सबको समेट सकता है, उन सबको शामिल कर सकता है। और इन सबको करने से एक आज जो ये होलिस्टिक हमारी सोच बन जाए, क्योंकि कोई भी केमिकल्स एक्सट्रैक्ट वो केमिकल के रूप में आता है तो वो एलोपैथिक साइड पे चला जाएगा, बाकी रूपों में रहेगा तो वो आयुर्वेद के रूप में या सिद्धा के रूप में, तिब्बी के रूप में है। तो क्या कॉमनलिटी जो है वो आप प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं। इसको सीमित ना रखकर इस फार्मेसी को या इन सब चीज़ों को हम बढ़ाएं कि जो जितने भी प्रकृति ने हमें चीज़ें दी हैं, पेड़ पौधे दिए हैं, उन सब का कोई ना कोई उपयोग है तो जीव जंतु का भी। परंतु मैं, क्योंकि शुद्ध शाकाहारी लोग हैं, धार्मिक लोग हैं, पेड़ पौधों तक के अंदर हर चीज़ का कोई ना कोई उपयोग है। इसी संजीवनी से लेकर और सारी चीज़ें हमारे आज, चाहे पीपल का पेड़ हो, चाहे बरगद हो, चाहे नीम हो, ये सब आज कॉलगेट को भी लिखना पड़ता है कि नीम वाला कॉलगेट है। हमारी पहले सारी चीज़ें नष्ट की गई। नष्ट करने के अंदर एक बहुत बड़ा कारण है कि मैकाले द्वारा जो शिक्षा इस देश में पिछले 250 साल से दी गई है, उसने हमारे स्व को, हमारे सेल्फ को खत्म करने की जो कोशिश की है, उसको आज मुझे लगता है कि सही वक्त है। और पीछे इंटरनेशनल एक हमारी कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई थी यूनिवर्सिटी में, उसमें भी जो बड़े बड़े आपके शोधकर्ता और वैज्ञानिक आए थे, उन्होंने बताया था कि यदि साहनी जो सबसे बड़े वैज्ञानिक रहे फार्मेसी के, यदि उनकी बात के ऊपर सरकारों ने अमल कर लिया होता 50-60s में, तो आज भारत सबसे बड़ा प्रोड्यूसर होता है इन चीज़ों का, और हमारे ऊपर लोग डिपेंड करते हैं। परंतु जो कुछ हुआ है, पर अब समय आ गया है, हम सब लोग मिलकर काम करें। और 6 दिन तक लगातार गुप्ता जी के नेतृत्व में आप, डॉक्टर योगेंद्र जी और सब मिलकर इतना कुछ सीखने का प्रयास करें, पूरा फायदा उठाएं। और जितने ये महानुभाव हमारे आपके आमंत्रण पर आए हैं, उन सब का मैं स्वागत करता हूं, और आशा करता हूं कि हम बहुत कुछ सीख कर मानव कल्याण के लिए अपने इस सीख को आगे लगाने में सफल होंगे। आपको बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं, क्योंकि आज इंटरनेशनल योगा दिवस, और यहाँ भी हमारे 5000 स्टूडेंट जुड़े हुए हैं। कार्यक्रम दोनों एक ही समय में हो गए। आपका स्वागत है, और मैं आपके बीच से जाना चाहूंगा, क्योंकि दूसरा कार्यक्रम साथ साथ है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir, for your motivational words and blessings. Now I am profusely overjoyed to take the opportunity to request our chief guest, who is a motivator, a great researcher in the field of pharmacy, and role model for pharmacy professionals, respected Professor B. Suresh sir, to motivate all of us with his inspiring words. Please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mona, for inviting me to speak on this platform. Respected Chancellor Nandkishore Gargji, who just spoke before us so nicely and made us see our vision and mission towards life and education. Respected Vice Chancellor Dr. R.P. Gupta ji, Dr. Suresh Gupta ji, and my friends and colleagues, Yogendra ji, and my very good professional colleagues and friends, Dr. Jaibalan, Vijay Balla ji, Salahuddin ji, and many other friends who are there on the platform here. Today's education. Very good morning to all of you, and it's my pleasure to extend warm greetings to all of you on this International Yoga Day also. Today, all over the country, International Yoga Day is being celebrated. People have told the message for this Yoga Day is be in home and be in yoga. I think that is the thing. I think we also, in the form of education, which we are going to discuss and deliberate, we are going to the form of yoga only. In the sense that yoga particularly talks about disciplining your mind and body and be able to what you call as strengthen both your external and internal life which is around you and with you. I think education is equally a yoga, which I feel, which is very, very important for all of us, not only to acquire degrees, that is external, but internally to acquire knowledge. I think that's where we are in the platform there. Now, today's theme for this, not today's theme, this theme for this whole week is about the use of technology and the blended education, how it's going to impact. So this yoga, which we have been practicing in a particular way so far, for whatever reason, we have been doing it through the traditional way, whatever it was there. Now, the time has come, there is an external influence on what we are going to teach and do it. It is just like from learning yoga, you now go to a gym, try to get faster and quicker outcomes from you to get your health parameters, maybe your six-pack abs or lose your weight, whatever is the indication. Like from yoga, you are going to a gym to achieve your growth and achieve the thing. So the reason for going to gym is because you want to achieve quickly certain things, because you don't have an instructor to teach you in your home the yoga you want to do. There may be various reasons for that. And accordingly, you go to a gym and start practicing under an instructor, or try to see and build your own physical structure well. But internal structure does not necessarily come with that. What will happen in yoga? I think that is the difference I am trying to make in the beginning, is that while use of technology can be like the gym, where you can do a physical build up for you, whatever you want to do, but the internal build up will come only with a teacher, and technology can only support there. It cannot come without a teacher. I think that's the emphasis I would like to tell. And the teacher is your internal yoga. That is what he is trying to inspire you or make you into what you are, is the teacher who is doing it. You may have hundreds of courses on technology, hundreds of programs loaded on technology, but without a teacher, the technology is of no use. Let us see, if a person is not there, what is the use of having a gym then? Okay, only if a person is there and is desirous to use the gym, you go there and you try to achieve that. If there is no person and only the gym exists there, it has got no meaning for the purpose of the objective. So similarly, technology is there, but it is the people who will be using it for a better outcome which you are looking at, but it cannot substitute the teacher or the person which is associated with that, is what I would like to start off. Now, having given this preamble, I will try to take you through some slides I have prepared, because I'm sure a lot of teacher colleagues are on this platform and everybody has this question in their mind. how the technology is going to play a role in education, and how it is going to impact the teaching community, how it's going to impact the institutions, how it's going to impact the students. I think these are all the different questions which everyone has. So I have put together some thoughts in my mind. Perhaps I don't say I will give you all the answers for what you are looking at, but I think they have made a beginning where we can all start thinking, and during the week when you're discussing, you can discuss on all these issues and make even a recommendatory paper to the council later on, that this is the level of teaching that should be blended, and this is the technology, and this is the teacher's role that should be played. It can come out as a recommendation from your week-long FDP also. Now I'll share the screen. I presume you are able to see my screen now.
Yes, sir, we are able to see you.
So I'll make it full screen now.
Yes.
I think the screen is also in full screen now, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
So the theme for this conference or this FDP which is there is use of ICT in blended mode of pharmacy education. And going inside, let us understand what is this blended learning involves. Does it mean only technology, or it can be anything else also? When we talk of blending, I think we have to understand the definition itself, what it is there, because it relates to the education. I'm focusing on, see, if you look at the blended learning definition, we can say in a way that it integrates online and face-to-face activities. That is a simple definition. Like, when you talk about blended education, that online education also is there, in-person education also is there. Then courses are taught both in classroom as well as at a distance. That means the student need not necessarily come to a campus to learn when you are talking in the blended room. So I think that is one of the idea we have to start accepting. The student may not come to the campus when he is listening to the lecture. Teacher may not come to the campus when he is delivering the lecture, but still the interaction and the objective is taking place. So I think this is something we have to appreciate that. I'm not telling student need not come or teacher need not come. There is a possibility this may be in different places. Let us say now with the borders dissolving with this technology, a teacher may be on a conference meeting at say in some international conference he's attending abroad, but he need not miss his class. Even from there, he can schedule his class and give a lecture to the classroom without the student losing his opportunity. I think that's what I mean by telling a student or a teacher need not be there. Similarly, if a student is on, let us say, an industrial tour somewhere and he is out of the campus, and if the teacher still desires to reach out to the students, he can reach out through this mode and connect with the students and guide him with that. So that's what I am trying to tell, that they need not be present on the campus. Second is mixing or combining instructional technology with actual job tasks in order to create harmonious effect of learning and working. So it cannot necessarily be there. It can combine both a job task also. A student may be working on a project in industry, then he learns also, and the technology also is supporting him to produce the learning and working to go together. And if person, let us say, if he is learning part-time any program, there is a possibility of his working and learning also. That is another advantage of the blended learning. Then combining computers with traditional teaching. It is also referred as reverse teaching, flipped teaching, backward classroom, reverse instruction. Different types of definitions can be there for the blended learning. So I am trying to talk here, what do we understand by blended learning? I think once this is clear, then I think we'll be able to look at the other issues. So we understand very clearly that for delivering pharmacy education, we will be using technology and we will be using the faculty also associated with that. It is not that only technology will be used and faculty will be replaced by the technology. No, that cannot happen in a blended learning. Even in, let us say, if you're totally online programs also, there is an expectation that the teacher should interact with the students online. I think that's a very important thing. It's not just you pre-record some lectures and allow the students to listen. That is self-directed learning. It is not a blended learning, or it's not an online education which we are talking about. Moving on further. Now, if you look at use of technology in education, I used ICT very lucidly, or what you call as very loosely, because technology is going to become much more than IT. It is going to be just more than a use of software or a Zoom platform or no. There are several platforms that are going to come, and as we go through the presentation, you will understand what type of technology we may expect in the future and how education may go for a paradigm shift. Now, if you look at the paradigm shift that has been happening in teaching, particularly in this COVID season, starting from last March 2020, we never before that believed that a teacher can teach online to a student. We never believed that the student will be at home and will be still learning. We never believed that we can have an online examination. We all were used to a particular way of life and learning. So this COVID situation has moved us or shifted us to another level of thinking, because that it became important for us to maintain continuity in our education which we are giving to the student, because we understood very clearly that the government, while deciding the policy for lockdown and unlocking, it will keep the school and colleges as the last option to open up, because they are the places where large congregation of people will take place every day. And if one person gets infected, the chance of many getting infected would be there, and it will spread again in a very rapid way. So that is why educational institutions have been given the what you call as the not priority, has been given the last stage in the level where they allow the students to come to a campus to learn. So having understood that, that means technology is having understood that technology is going to be a part of our life, we also look, are we prepared for that? So that's why I put this SWOT analysis for you. It is actually a SWOT analysis, in fact, not threats, it's challenge. So strengths, if you look, it is education beyond borders. That means now I am talking to you or giving a talk to my faculty, or the faculty will be talking to students sitting at different geographic locations. No longer the border of being in a particular city or a particular campus becomes a necessity for learning. Even from other countries, people can do. Now, for example, all this PhD vivas which we conduct, invariably we have one foreign examiner, because he can now do the viva voce for the students online from where he is. So earlier we were forced to get the PhD viva voce faculty to be from the region, so that he can come, he can deliver and evaluate the student. So technology has shifted the borders now, and we are able to do it. Then we are using innovative methods for teaching and teaching learning. The pedagogy has changed, and no longer we felt, going with a chalk and duster to the classroom is the only way of teaching and interacting with the student, scolding them or giving them assignments. That's the way. Now many other things have come in the process of this thing. And personalized education is what is going to be the future. So like, if we had a problem in the classroom, the teacher was limited by the class hour which he was having, and he has to teach the student in that particular hour, because the student goes to the next class, and during that he has to fit into the timetable to do it. And if at all student wanted to interact with the teacher, he has to look beyond his timetable and be able to interact with the student and be interact with his teacher. And teacher should also be available on such a campus. Like if you take a busy city like Mumbai, life runs around time. Like, you have to catch a train at 7 o'clock, you catch a train in the morning to go to the college. And if you have to catch a train to go back at 6 o'clock to reach your house, you have to catch a train, because if you miss the train, you cannot do it. So the life was limited by the time there. And so personalized education was not possible. Now personalized education is possible, because through online, we can reach out to the student, he can interact with you. There is no boundary of time also here. So these are some of the strengths of a technology which I feel which is there. What is the weakness? Weakness is access to technology may not be available to all the students, all the teachers, all the institutions. Number two is affordability. Like, we have to think from the type of side of a student and a teacher. How many teachers or students would be having a proper device available to them to get the full benefit of technology? Now, for the necessity of purpose, we have been using our mobile phones and all other things for teaching and learning purposes to achieve this objective which is there. But that cannot go for endless time. So that means we have to look at the technology infrastructure that will be available. The next is lack of expertise to deliver this type of online lectures and other things is there. And that's why this type of FDP is created, so that teachers get familiar with how do we move forward in delivering our education. Now, what are the opportunities? The opportunities are that anytime, anywhere learning it is possible now. I gave you several examples. A teacher can go to a conference internationally and still engage in the classroom which is there. So he need not lose the class which he is scheduled to do him. He need not request his other teacher to take his class when he is away. So all these things are the opportunities which are there. And enhanced reach is there. That means we can reach the students beyond his hours. We can reach large number of students through this. A good teacher can share his expertise to all the students across the country. Not necessary it is limited by his own institutions where he is teaching. And management of time towards research is possible, because the teacher is engaged so much now in the classroom teaching that he does not find to do other activities. Now, use of technology gives him time to use the physical presence in the campus to do many other things. With the technology, he can do his preparation, whatever it is, deliver his lectures, and focus time more on the research and other activities on the campus. Now, challenges is creating the infrastructure in institutions, particularly if you're looking at standalone institutions or pharmacy colleges. You know, today we have 3,500 colleges, and out of this 3,500 pharmacy colleges, nearly about 2,500 are standalone colleges. So now each of these standalone colleges will have to create an infrastructure of IT, and they have to do it. They have to train the faculty. And one thing we have to understand, no particular thing will fit everyone. You cannot say this particular model will help all the institutions to deliver the education. You have to look at the background from which the students also are coming. We have to adapt and develop this and try to bring forward. I think I spent a little more time on this slide so that you can understand why technology definitely is important, but we also have to adapt and learn from this process. Now, moving on, what will be the future? I think the future, if you not today, tomorrow, in 10 years from now, I think classrooms will not have any blackboards or chalk piece or dusters will not be there anymore. Already people are using now whiteboards and what you call marker pens to teach. But I think that also will go, and you will have all these LED walls moving forward, and students having their own devices to learn. I think this is where the world is moving, and this is where we all will move invariably. And carrying a notebook, pen, pencil will be only for doing certain calculation and not for documenting or taking notes or carrying out such things. All these things will become a change which is going to happen, and we have to see. Now, if you look at the future, what is going to happen? I explained to you some of the things. A widely spread homeschooling approach will be there. When I mean homeschooling, I'm not talking of schools itself. I'm talking about children. Let us say, I mean, our college students, let us say a particular student is affected by a particular disease or disorder. Now, let us say, he may not be able to physically attend the class, but still he can participate and learn, which may be there. How much it will be applicable in pharmacy and what type of personal contact is required, that is a different issue. But if a student wants to learn, he can learn sitting at home also, is what we are aiming and looking at this as a technology. I already mentioned about personalized learning. That is what the future is going to be. There will be more e-learning platforms. I'll be showing some example at the end what type of e-learning platform will be there. It's not just one type of e-learning only model will be there. There will be many more, and many designs will come up in the next 2-3 years, which is going to make a total shift in the education which we are delivering. And there will be decreased emphasis on physical campuses. That means, what I mean by decreased means for the purpose of learning, going to a physical campus may be less, but for overall development is available, presence in the campus will be there, and that we have to look at what needs will be required for the student to learn. Then project-based learning and rise in EdTech in the classroom is going to be a way. It will not be a chapter is there and you have to go and lecture and come back. There will be project driven, and technology is going to support it. That teacher will take the role of a guide. I always used to tell this before. The future is not far away where a lecturer will be considered as a guide, and a professor is considered as a mentor, and a principal or a director will be more like a coach rather than defining these designations. So designations of assistant professor, principal, director will all go away. They will be guides, mentors, and coaches. I think these are the ways we are going to look at the education. And social and emotional skills as a priority is what we'll be seeing in the campus life. It will not be the education itself purely which will be important, but what type of social skills what type of emotional skills the student has. Let us say if he wants to become a physician, what are the skills he has to acquire besides his learning of knowledge and other things. This is what will be the focus. And if you look further, the advantage of this technology will be self-paced curriculum. And next is the student can pass a few papers at a time and move forward, and he'll be able to do that. And the learning environment will adhere to the student's needs. Now student is adhering to the learning environment. He has to come to a particular time, because a teacher has to come at that particular time and go back at a particular time. So I think these changes will happen. Technology that enriches learning potential and boosts creativity. I think this is what is going to be there. It is going to build the capacity in the students to learn on themselves more. No longer this coaching class or tuitions are not going to make a difference to a student's learning process, because he has to learn anyway independently, and he has to do that, and it will boost the creativity. And frequent skill checks that will help the constant study progress. That means both the teacher and student will have to understand the new skills or new technologies that may come in, and will have to move forward. I think this is where the future is going to go, and we all should be prepared for that. I raised this issue before itself. Can technology substitute a teacher? I would like to reiterate again, no, technology cannot substitute a teacher. Technology will be of great advantage to a teacher to deliver the education which I am trying to tell. Now, in the use of technology, students becomes the focus there completely. There is no interference or administrative challenges and other things are not there for a teacher, because he is simply engaged only in teaching the student, and other things are beyond the classroom hours. Now, if it is looking at the classroom hour, there may be a teacher may be distracted because there is an inspection happening, or the teacher may be distracted because he has to carry out certain other administrative responsibilities. But now the teacher will not be distracted in delivering the education, because you would have prepared way ahead and delivered it to the student. And what will come to the classroom is only for an interaction will be there. There will be new ways of teaching. He can, student learning capabilities can be focused and try to help weaker students and fast learning students. Then lesson planning and implementation will be very systematic. More comprehensive and structured assessment will be there. You don't have to sit and evaluate the theory papers and put your marks on a tabulated sheet and then send it across to university. All these things will change, and decreased administrative hurdles and overviews will be there. So definitely technology is going to be a great advantage to a teacher to move forward. Now I'm going by 4 categories here, that what the institution needs, what the teacher needs, what the student needs. So like that. So I'm first starting with the institution. Blended education in pharmacy education, if you want to bring in, that is if you want to bring it to a university. Now for that, very important is the institution should equip its ICT infrastructure. That is, you have to have learning management systems, you have to make available computers and laptops to the faculty, internet bandwidth and access to staff and students, adequate number of learning resources, databases, licensed software, etc. required, professional development of faculty in the use of technology in education. So it's very simple. People assume, oh, use of technology, what is there? You use your mobile or government computer, hai, usse kaam kar lo. It will not be so simple, because when you give access to all these LMS, they are IP driven. When they are IP driven, when the IP license is being taken, it will be for the institution. It will be not for the individual person. So if the individual leaves that IP address which is there of the campus and moves out of campus, it will not work in his LMS at his home. So it is necessary that physical presence of a teacher will be required, and the LMS access will have to be given with a proper computer authorized by the institution. All these things come in. So we have to equip the students and teachers with proper type of hardware and software which will be required for learning the education process. Without this, thinking that, okay, Zoom platform is freely available, you go and give a lecture there. It's not blended education. It is not technology-based education. It is just using something as a way of communication. Instead of doing a physical communication, you are doing an online communication by giving the same old lecture in the same format. That is not learning technology-based education. If you are talking of blended education, it should be at all levels the technology should be able to support. That's the emphasis I am trying to make. Now, what are the transformative changes that would be required at institutions? Now, in the existing, improve the existing operations is one, then transform institutional settings offerings is the second one. Now, improving existing operations is strengthen your IT infrastructure first. and your internet connectivity. Earlier, you would have got an internet connectivity for your institution only for the purpose of your office to send an email and receive an email, or at the most to look at some databases you will be using. Now you have to make it campus-wise available, this technology for the students and faculty to use it wherever they are. So I think Wi-Fi enablement and this type of technology will have to go at all the institutions. Then provide students full visibility to all aspects of education, both in person and online experiences. Then optimize learning resources. Digital format should be there, where the students can learn from anywhere. Create course materials that can be effectively made available to the students, that can be used both in person and online classes. Like the course material now the teacher designs is he may make a PPT, he may present it, and maybe he will mail the PPT to the student, or he may give hard copies, or the books may be available in library as hard copies. Now all this has to change, and we have to look at it, the students, how we can learn it and take it. And further, you have to develop and automate the examinations also. How do we go about it is something we'll have to look. Now, students can access classes on online, certain classes being designated as online only. That means if the timetable is there, it need not be flexible to the point of it. We can say, okay, subjects like A, B, C will be accessed only on online. They need not go to a physical classroom to learn that, because there is no need for a physical interaction taking place. There can be pre-recorded videos, or the teacher will deliver the content online and only interaction will be there. So we can design that curriculum, which part of it is to be going forward. What is the compelling reason for a particular subject to be offered in person only? That is, if you want to offer a subject particularly in person only, you should have a reason for that. Okay, we cannot say teach drug delivery system in online. We have to come in the person. Then only you'll see the tablet punching. Then you'll see the capsule punching, capsule filling, and all these things. So that means you have to define why that course needs to be delivered only in person. Then campus presence to be used for transformative experiences rather than classroom teaching. When he's coming to a campus, the student should be able to learn beyond his lectures and beyond his curriculum which is there. And that is why he is required to be present in a campus, and not for listening to the lecture in the classroom, which may or may not be available beneficial to him, because the content will be already available on the platform which is going to be there. Then collaborate with online education platform providers to give a great learning experience. See, when you take any platform providers or LMS, they are generic in version. That means they'll be suiting for all the people. So I said meaning only, there is one size fits all may not work. So we may have to split and develop the curriculum, split the platform to deliver certain activities. So that means you have to collaborate with the platform providers to develop a specific type of module for your own institution. Now we're coming to the LMS itself, the learning management system itself. That's a very important part of the education. I would like to reiterate, just going on Zoom or Team and giving a lecture is not blended education. You have to have a proper learning management system, and that only can be possible. So some of the vision which I have for the LMS that may happen in future is that there will be specialized learning management systems that will be available for pharmacy education. I think that's what I am visualizing. That means it will be embedded with the curriculum. Let us say the teacher need not adapt and go and tell the student what is the syllabus for this, because now we have a national syllabus. Students will be having preloaded access to this type of learning management system with all the what you call as the curriculum and other requirements that have to go with that, competencies he has to learn. He can measure his competency based on the subject and the marks he has achieved. So these type of things will be available on the LMS at a larger level in the pharmacy institutions. If you look at the size of 3,500, and if it is technology itself is going to be the backbone, I think this will be a very important thing. Not only this LMS will be linked with the required course material which the teacher provides, but it will have a license arrangement with a wide range of resource providers, including books, journals, videos, and podcasts. So the LMS itself will try to give, just like when you go for a Netflix or other such OTT platforms, you have a choice. You can go for so many modules, or you can go for a basic module, or you can have more. So similarly, this LMS will give you, okay, you want only LMS for teaching with the basic format, or you want access to the databases. You want to do buy books and journals through this. You don't have to buy, it's only leasing arrangement. So the cost of education is going to come back just like in your OTT. the amount money which is spent on journals and books in the library will go down, because now with this LMS, if there's a proper tie-up, the cost can come down automatically. There also will be a project factory which will be incorporated, like what will be integrating. Now today, for example, Elsevier has got a platform known as Scival, where all the new ideas and and it is also, there's another platform known as Digital Commons, where all the projects, ideas, research that is happening across the world is available to you. So it will be able to help you to develop your own project, write the project, evaluate it, and submit the report also, which is integrated with anti-plagiarism tools, so that you don't have to struggle in developing and writing a journal article or a project report for yourself. The LMS will support the faculty and students in preparing their teaching, learning, and assessment tasks. Like if a teacher wants to set up a MCQ, he will be able to set up MCQs which he has designed. He will also have a choice for using from the database which may be available. Classrooms will be enhanced to provide practical, clinical, and soft skill experiences and help in developing the students' analytical and inquiry skills. The classroom focus would only be on this area and not really on the teaching and learning part of it. I think this is where the LMS is going to move. Now, coming to the curriculum. Now, we as education providers, that is the Pharmacy Council or the institutions, will have to also work on the curriculum. Now, the curriculum to be designed in quadrants. That means it should contain to know what topics can be delivered online and what are the resources for that. It will talk, these classes should be through contact classes only. It will have these classes can be delivered through videos, and these assessments can be done at the end of the class. So I think this curriculum will get into this design. This already exists for online education, which we have very strongly experimented and found very useful. So this type of change will come. Then providing the student the experience of self-paced learning. That means this is something which we have to build in our curriculum. Now, if a student is able to learn at his own convenience and pace, that means this year he takes 3 papers, next year he takes 2 papers, he continues to progress with the learning. I think this is something we'll have to experiment and see how this is possible. Then defining the percentage of experience that needs to be given in person. That is, let us say, can 60% be emphasized that it will be an in-person class only, because it will include large number of practicals and other skills to be gained. And the 40% can be on the online mode, which can be acceptable norm. I think this is something we'll have to look at it. Then including large amount of internships and project-based learning in the curriculum, because we have now bound by a particular syllabus and we start teaching that. But I think we have to substitute it slowly with the internships and project-based learning where the student is able to do it. Then we have to give a lot of flexibility to students to choose courses based on the area of future higher education. Let us say a student wants to do an elective in artificial intelligence. Now you will say, I don't have a teacher. I don't have the expertise to teach them. So how can I offer artificial intelligence? With technology, this gets a barrier. Now there can be a number of electives that will be designed as per curriculum and available, which can be fully online. And the student can choose that as an elective and be able to learn that area which is of interest to him. Let us say he's interested in marketing. Again, he need not be physically present to learn marketing program. So he can learn. So these type of courses can definitely be built in where the student can learn certain electives. You can now not offer only 6 electives or 7 electives based on the teachers available to you. Now you can even offer 100 electives if the LMS is there and it has got the type of choices which the students want to take. Now coming to the faculty itself, what are the changes that will be required? The faculty will be required to develop learning resources meeting the curriculum, institutional and the student needs. Now I defined what will be the technology there. So when you have to prepare the learning resources, you have to fit in and adapt to the needs that are required. So it no longer be just, okay, type few things and put it on PPT and show it. You have to develop everything and fit into the national requirement and international requirement, because you are going to be visible everywhere. What you will be delivered will be seen everywhere. So if that is the case, I think you should be able to really be able to put up to that quality which is required, because now the quality gets restricted to the classroom in physical teaching, unless the principal or a director wants to go and sit and see how you are teaching, and he may not be able to see how you are teaching all the time. But on an online platform, he'll be able to see your standard of teaching, the student feedback, all these things will be available on the online platform which is required. The faculty development programs like this should be equipping the teachers with the new skills that may be there and be able to provide comprehensive experiences beyond curriculum. Now, teachers should not tell, I have finished my 75 hours, I don't have any work to do. You have to go beyond that and be able to share the experiences to the students, and that is how he will be attracted towards the institution. Now, coming to the students will have to be oriented towards the use of technology and internship requirements before joining the course itself. So we have to tell him, like, you are coming in, you will need a computer or a laptop when you are here. So you have to prepare yourself to have at least a basic model of a laptop or computer available to you, so that you are able to carry out certain things. And this will involve internships in your program. And we have internships in these places only. So you can make up your mind which is more comfortable and be able to commit to us which place you want the internship, so that accordingly we can plan and schedule your internship to go to a particular company or a pharmacy or a hospital as may be required. Then we need to have access for computer and laptops and internet facility throughout the course for the students. I think this will be one of the important things which the institution will have to look and develop skills to take online assessments and self-directed study. I think this is something we have to understand. Students may come from different backgrounds. They may come from rural background. They may come from schools or colleges where they would have not even seen a computer. And you are going to just jump them into a program. Of course, he has got a desire to learn. So what type of skills you will be building in? So I think this also you will have to equip the students to achieve the growth which you are looking at. Now, I have told you all these requirements. It's very easy to ask that you are telling all this, do you have this in your institution? Yes, we have. That's what I am trying to tell here. We have a very strong technology background for us. Like we have from registration, admission to course scheduling, course materials, online classes, examinations, parallel evaluations are taking place. Like, earlier evaluation has to take place, means student has to, the paper used to go to a particular teacher. Now we send parallelly to 3 or 4 people to see whether the fairness in evaluation is taking place from results to graduation. So we have made a mission, admission to graduation, everything is available on the technology based platform. And similarly, we have a master data management student, and today 6,000 students have access to this, and 11,000 tests are conducted online in just in this 1 year, 1.5 years time. We have conducted 11,000 tests online, and we have got 4,700 multi-examiner evaluations done online. That means there were multiple examiners who had come and conducted the examination. Many more provisions are there, and very more effectiveness and efficiencies are in process at our institution. What I am trying to tell, you have to plan ahead and move forward, not wait for things to happen, is a point I am making. So I would like to end it by telling ICT and blended education are inevitable. You be prepared for it. Like we are talking of only technology, augmented reality experiments, and all these things are going to just fall in place, not very far away. You will have 5 to 6 years time from now, where students will be doing their experiences through augmented, they will be doing their practical skills and learning through augmented reality, and real life situations is what they are going to see. If let us say, if a packaging is failing in an industry, he need not read theoretically. He can really see how the packaging is failing in a particular industry. If a drug is not able to provide the type of PK/PD values, how it is affecting, he'll be able to see it. All these things will be available in augmented reality in the coming years, and that's where the world is moving. Let's be prepared for it. At the end, I would like to say, I would like to thank Maharaja Agzarshen University for inviting me to talk here this morning and be able to deliver this. Thank Yogendra ji, and he was continuously persuading me. I was initially hesitating, telling that I may have other commitments. He was continuously persuading me to come and be with you all this morning. I feel today very happy that I accepted and be with that, because I'm seeing a lot of my good friends here on this platform also. And also, I thought, this is perhaps my first in the series of the online lectures which I am giving during this month. All along this last 2 months, I was a bit quiet. I didn't get engaged directly into too many things, because a lot of our friends were doing very good work. So I encouraged that to happen. Now I felt, okay, there is time to give a little steering and moving forward. Even in this week itself, I got 4 more different events which I have committed, all on different themes. So I have started off first with the Maharaja Agzarshen University, and thank you for inviting. It has happened here. And I am very pleased with the comments which your Honorable Chancellor made, that he has committed towards excellence and the way he has focused. I am sure you are in a very good institution, very opportune place. You are all there. So I would encourage the faculty of the university to exploit the maximum to gain this and become a lead institution like what the Chancellor desired. I think this is something which I would like to leave a message with them. And to my colleague teachers and who are going to be speakers, Dr. Balla, Jaybal and Salahuddin and all others who are there, I would like to say, I think we have to bring the transformation which we are talking about. So we have to all work together, try to look at it and bring it. Challenges will be there. If we don't learn and move forward, this will remain as only a talk and then say, अब तो pandemic हो गया, वापस जाएंगे, वही काम करेंगे जो था. So that will not work because our students will be greatly affected. And at the same time, we have to safeguard the interest of our teachers also. We hear all sort of challenges the teachers are facing. We will be addressing it in a very firm manner also. But it is very important that we not only are leaders, but also nurture and help our other colleagues to also be able to develop and stabilize themselves. I once again thank the university, and I wish all the very best to all my professional colleagues. And thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mona madam. Yeah, Mona madam.
Hanji, sir. I have unmuted myself, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for guiding us with your words of knowledge and your motivational words. Now I request Heartbeat of our university, who is always dedicated for the upliftment of the university, none other than Project Director, Maharaja Agarsen University, respected Shri Suresh Gupta, sir, to give his blessings to all of us. Please, sir.
महाराजा अग्रसेन यूनिवर्सिटी के चांसलर डॉक्टर नंद किशोर गर्ग जी, आज के हमारे चीफ गेस्ट और फार्मेसी काउंसिल के प्रेसिडेंट डॉक्टर प्रोफेसर बी सुरेश जी, हमारे वाइस चांसलर आदरणीय आर के गुप्ता जी, हमारे और तीन हमारे जो रिसोर्स पर्सन्स हैं, डॉक्टर कमला पाठक जी, विजय भल्ला जी, डॉक्टर जे जयाबालन जी, प्रोफेसर जी.डी. गुप्ता जी, मोहम्मद सलाउद्दीन जी, हमारे फार्मेसी काउंसिल, हमारे फार्मेसी स्कूल के डायरेक्टर योगेंद्र जी, मोना, पंकज भटेजा, अमित अग्रवाल जी और सीनियर जूनियर फैकल्टी मेंबर्स, आज का जो बी सुरेश जी ने जो अपना वो पीपीटी जो दिखाई है, मुझे लगता है आपको 6 दिन की बजाय ये 1 महीने के लिए एक्सटेंड करना पड़ेगा इसको, एफडीपी को। जितना उन्होंने डिटेल में, जितना बढ़िया से उन्होंने बताया है, ये सभी को अपने मन में उतार लेना चाहिए, अपने दिल में उतार लेना चाहिए। और जो जो बताया है, जो जो उनकी पीपीटी के अंदर आया है, मेरी अपने सभी फैकल्टी के लोगों से, सीनियर जूनियर सभी से रिक्वेस्ट है कि इस पीपीटी को अपने पास होल्ड करके रखें और उसमें जो जो आईसीटी के बारे में, जो जो ब्लेंडेड मोड और एजुकेशन के बारे में बताया गया है, उसके ऊपर आप विचार करेंगे, विचार ही नहीं करेंगे, उसको लागू करेंगे, उसको वर्ड बाय वर्ड उसको लागू करेंगे अपने इंस्टीट्यूशन में। और मेरी अपने जो गेस्ट, हमारे विद्वान जो फार्मेसी काउंसिल से जुड़े हैं, उन सब से भी रिक्वेस्ट है कि जो बी सुरेश जी ने बताया है, जो उन्होंने आज अपना पीपीटी दिया है, वो उसको आगे बढ़ाएं। और अपनी, अगर आप लोगों ने जो पीपीटी तैयार की होगी, उसके अंदर भी अमेंडमेंट करके इसका समावेश करें। मैं हृदय से आभारी हूं प्रोफेसर बी सुरेश जी का, और उनको महाराजा अग्रसेन यूनिवर्सिटी की तरफ से इनवाइट कर रहा हूं आज कि वो जब भी नॉर्थ इंडिया में कहीं आए हमारे योगेंद्र जी को, हमें किसी को भी बताएं, हम उनको यूनिवर्सिटी का गेस्ट मानते हैं, यूनिवर्सिटी के अंदर एज यूनिवर्सिटी परिवार का मेंबर मानते हैं। उनके यहाँ पूरा इंतजाम हम करेंगे और हम चाहेंगे कि हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी को विजिट करें। दिल्ली के हमारे दोनों कॉलेज हैं जो ऑल इंडिया में बहुत अच्छी रैंक रखते हैं, उनकी तरफ से भी चांसलर साहब ने उनको इनवाइट किया है और मुझे उम्मीद है बी सुरेश जी हमारी रिक्वेस्ट को स्वीकार करेंगे और हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी में एक दिन अपना प्रोग्राम देंगे आने का। मैं अब कोरोना काल के अंदर जो जिस तरह चल रहा है, आप फार्मेसी के लोगों के ऊपर सबसे ज्यादा जिम्मेवारी है कि फार्मेसी के लोग जो भला अभी हमारा सोसाइटी का, समाज का कर सकते हैं, डॉक्टर, फार्मासिस्ट, ये सब के सब लोग हमारी रीढ़ की हड्डी हैं और हिंदुस्तान के अंदर आप सब लोग बहुत ही बढ़िया काम कर रहे हैं। हमारी फैकल्टी के लोग दिन रात मेहनत कर रहे हैं अपने स्टूडेंट्स को, उनको ज्यादा से ज्यादा उनको नॉलेज मिल सके। इसी के साथ में पुनः आप सभी हमारे जितने ऑर्गेनाइजर्स हैं और जितने हमारे गेस्ट हैं, सबका मैं हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। थैंक यू। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Thank you, sir, for your inspiratory and magical words. It gives me an immense pleasure that we have eminent scholars as resource persons from different states and universities. I express our gratitude for our resource persons who got agreed on our request to spare their precious time and energy to guide us as well as our participants. Now I would like to invite Professor Dr. Vijay Bhalla sir, Principal SGT College of Pharmacy, SGT University, Gurugram, to say a few words. Please, sir.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I hope I am audible to all of you.
Yes, sir, audible.
भला जी, हाँ
Yes,
ठीक
sir.
है, ये ठीक।
हाँ सर, अब
भला
Audible
जी,
है ना?
अजय ये ऊपर से ये स्क्रीन से वो हटा दो तो भल्ला जी का पूरा वो आएगा ना फिर।
डन सर।
हाँ, उनका व्यू पूरा आ जाएगा उस पे स्क्रीन पे।
So, good morning, everyone. First of all, my privilege and great thanks to the patron, Dr. Nand Kishore Garg ji, who is the Honorable Chancellor of a very large chain of institutions, Maharaja Agrasen Group of Institutions and Maharaja Agrasen University, situated at Baddi, which is a hub of pharmaceutical manufacturing, testing and packaging services and facilities. My special respect to Professor B. Suresh sir for inaugurating this event. We are really enlightened with your words, and I know we have been hearing you every time a new thought and creativity and innovation come from you, and we all are following that up so that profession of pharmacy rises to a great heights. I am very grateful to Dr. R.K. Gupta, who is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of this university. Then Shri Suresh Gupta ji, Project Director. My friend Dr. Yogendra Singh, Director, Maharaja Agrasen University, for inviting me. I am very grateful to them. Again, a very happy International Yoga Day. As Dr. B. Suresh sir told that blending is a very important exercise these days for better outcomes. Similarly, today, not only it is an International Yoga Day, it is an International Music Day also. So we cannot perform a good yoga without music. So if we play music behind and we then perform yoga, I think our mind is also occupied and we can concentrate more. And I think we are time bound also. And there is a very good blend of music and yoga. So best wishes to all of you on International Yoga as well as Music Day. And as the theme selected, I think that is the need of the hour, information communication technologies. I think we all are very much in use of these technologies. I think we are, every one of us, starting from a very small child of a school to even a very elderly person in our country, they are using smartphones in their hands. They have an access to WhatsApp, they have an access to internet, they have an access to YouTube. They can play their a song of their choice. They can see a movie of their choice. So I understand we all have accepted technology in a way. Only thing is at the right place, if we are making a combination at a right place at the right time, I think we can take a very good outcome and output of these technologies. So here comes the education of pharmacy. I think Dr. B. Suresh has really elaborated the learning management system LMS, which is a need of the hour and every university has to adopt it. I think many of the online courses are already there on LMS systems, and many of the Indira Gandhi Open Universities and many of the universities have already adopted this system, and they're taking assignments and everything. They're making things paperless, and I think we are saving a lot of trees also, and they are adding values to our environment also. So these technologies has got a very important you can say a stay in our life, and we have to really accept it as early as possible. And speed is one very important thing, I would say, because the communication has speeded up very fast with the invent of these technologies. Now our communication reaches to masses within no time. Even today, if I see, I'm connected to more than 140 people, and I am able to share my experiences. So as far as ICT principles, when it goes in the life of a teacher and student is a youth full of energy, teacher is a matured person full of experience. If we blend them both, energy and experience, I think a very huge outcome can be expected. Very huge outcome can be expected from both of them. There will be a synergistic combination of student and teacher if they both accept these technology and use it the right place. I'm very sure they're going to get a newer ideas, exchange of their experiences. So they're going to help not only one student, it's going to help, I think, the whole lot. And why to confine only in one particular section these days? I think we can connect all across the country, all across the globe also. A good teacher or a great teacher who has created a good YouTube video, or a great teacher or good teacher who has created a very good notes, e-notes. I think many people, not only in India, even from abroad, would like to download it and will like to refer it and will like to teach from those notes. So I am sure these technologies are helping a lot to our people. Now one thing, last year in 2020, the pandemic started in the month of March only, and April was a peak, but 20th April, after 20th April, they gave some permissions. So we came to our university, we thought of how we can connect to our students. So I, along with my faculty member, we started virtual industrial visit for the first time in 2020 to various facilities. So we, in the month of May 2020, we visited 4 pharmaceutical manufacturing unit, one at Tamil Nadu, other was at Baddi, third was at Bahadurgarh. So we visited almost 4 facilities, manufacturing facilities. We were connected to the CMDs of the industries. So in that way, we started a virtual visit to the manufacturing facilities. Later, then next week, we visited to analytical facilities of Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission and Arboro. Then third time, we visited to the research facilities of Dabur India as well as Vyom Therapeutics, one international organization. So likewise, supply chain management, there were so many industrial visits we conducted, and we could connect to more than 10,000 students at that time. So I tell you, these platforms are very useful, very user-friendly, very interactive also at times, and I'm sure they are helping everyone, I think, who is interested to gain knowledge from this. It is an ocean. We have to really take out the good knowledge out of this. So one, Dr. Suresh is sitting, I will like to make a request, like each nursing course has to have an affiliation of one hospital, each medical college has to have one affiliation, each even PharmD program also has to have a hospital attachment. Even in B Pharmacy course, like for internships in future and project-based learning, I would appreciate, sir, before the approval, if a minimum MOUs are signed with 2 to 3 pharmaceutical manufacturing units. So I think that will help. So that will definitely help so that those pharmaceutical organizations really help our students for internships and trainings also during their course of studies for internships and project-based learnings. So this would be a request to them. I wish this faculty development program, which is very essential for our teaching faculty to accept the technologies for a better blended mode of pharmacy education, is very essential, a need of the hour. So I shall be giving my more experiences on Thursday on the topic, particularly theories supporting these blended learnings. So till then, I am grateful to all of you, all the management of Maharaja Agharsen University for giving me this opportunity to share my experiences as a resource person. Thank you very much, one and all. Have a safe stay. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dr. Yogen.
Mona madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your motivational words and your wishes. Now, I would like to invite Professor J. Balan, sir, Principal, Alwar Pharmacy College, Alwar, to say a few words. Please, sir.
बेटा मेरी मीटिंग चल रही है, जरूरी है सूरज को आप 5 मिनट को बोलो ले आएंगे.
My inspiration and respected dignitaries of Maharaja Agharsen University, thank you for giving me this opportunity to have a session in the faculty development program on ICT and blended education. And the topic which has been given to me is an overview to ICT and blended education. I think most of the things are covered by my teacher on his presentation today, and he has given me several leads. I have to take up and all these leads, and I have to make up my presentation for tomorrow. I will follow you in this topic also, sir. I am very proud to follow you. Having the same topic, I have been given the topic overview for ICT and blended mode of pharmacy education only. So thank you very much for giving me leads in this also, in this FDP also. And I thank Dr. Yogendra Singh for calling me and giving me this opportunity to have one lecture for tomorrow session. Along with my dear friends, Professor Balla sir, Professor Mohammad Salahuddin sir, respected Kamala Phatak madam, and this is a very this will be a very great experience to say. And in the year in the 2020, we have also started online education with the words of Professor Dr. B. Suresh sir in the May 20th of last year. So this year we are having the inauguration of this FDP program with Agharsen University with one of my students, Professor Dr. Yogendra Singh. Thank you, sir. Thank you all of you for giving me this opportunity. And I wish all the success for all the registered participants. There are, I heard that there are more than 400 participants have registered for this FDP. I wish every one of them all success, and we will follow the guidelines that are provided by Dr. B. Suresh in this presentation. As the project director of Maharaja Agharsen University was saying, every college has to follow. This is a guideline for having the ICT and LMS in the college education, especially in pharmacy colleges. Thank you, sir. Thank you all of you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Maharaja Agharsen University and teachers and my dear students. Thank you all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Maharaja Agharsen University is a private university located at the foothills of Kasoli, village Kalujhanda, district Solan. It was founded by Honorable Chancellor of Maharaja Agharsen University, Dr. Nand Kishore Garg sir. Now this is the time to share some glimpse of Maharaja Agarsen School of Pharmacy with all of you. For this, I would like to invite Ms. Rishu Yadav, Assistant Professor, Maharaja Agarsen School of Pharmacy. Over to you, Rishu.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yeah, audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Continue.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible also. You can continue.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. And it's a pleasure to introduce myself as a family member of Maharaja Agarsen University. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rishu Yadav. I'm working as an assistant professor in the School of Pharmacy, the Maharaja Agarsen School of Pharmacy. I am here with a PowerPoint presentation which will give you a brief introduction about our infrastructure and learning resources available at Maharaja Agarsen School of Pharmacy as well as Maharaja Agarsen University. So let's have a look. Is it visible to everyone?
Yeah, you can continue. Share your PPT.
Sir, I have shared. Is it visible?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have shared the screen. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So this is the picture of Maharaja Agarsen University, Baddi HP. About Maharaja Agarsen University. Maharaja Agarsen University was founded by Dr. Nand Kishore Garg at Atal Shiksha Kunj, Kalu Jhanda, Baddi, district Solan, HP, India. It is located at the foothills of Kasoli. University has established under Maharaja Agarsen University Act of 2012 by Himachal Pradesh State Legislative Assembly. University offers courses in various disciplines like science, commerce, engineering, management, law, and pharmacy. University provides calm and soothing atmosphere for its students for smooth learning. What is the vision and the mission of the university? Vision: to be globally recognized as a center of excellence for research and innovation, entrepreneurship, and disseminating knowledge by providing value-based education to produce professional leaders to serve the society. And what is the mission of our university? That is to prepare the students to be lifelong learners and groom them as professional leaders with strong analytical leadership skills and above all good human beings with civility, humility, integrity, and excellence so as to be successful and contented in the present competitive world. These are the gems of our university. Dr. Nand Kishore Garg, Chancellor, Maharaja Agarsen University, Baddi, Himachal Pradesh, and Professor Dr. R.K. Gupta, Vice Chancellor, MAU, Baddi, HP, and Dr. Sri Suresh Gupta sir, Project Director, MAU, Baddi, HP. He has a very dynamic personality. And now, the world of pharmacy at Maharaja Agarsen School of Pharmacy. And about Maharaja Agarsen School of Pharmacy, the School of Pharmacy came into existence in the year 2015 with academic program B Pharmacy, and PhD. Programs are duly approved by PCI, New Delhi, India. M.Pharm in pharmaceutics and pharmaceutical chemistry are scheduled to be start from session 2021 to 2022. All the courses are approved by HPPRC and Government of Himachal Pradesh. And this is the message from our director, Professor Dr. Yogen Singh, M.Pharm, Pharmacognosy, PhD, Pharmaceutical Sciences. He warmly welcome you and invite you all to visit the Explore our Institute School of Pharmacy at Maharaja Agarsen University, Baddi, to have a feel of flourishing academic environment, Life is a journey. If you stop, you will fail. If you walk, you will win definitely. In the current scenario, pharmacy is one of the most trusted and noble profession and remains one of the most attractive fields in the science and the technology. Pharmacy is a multidisciplinary course comprising of the application of chemistry, biology, mathematics, statistics, computer application, biochemistry, molecular biology, cell biology, chemical engineering, etc. I am confident that our past of students will be capable to face the challenges in their respective professional career, and being a pharmacist, they will do the necessary social service to the nation. Best wishes and good luck. And now, infrastructure available at MASOP, that is Maharaja Agriseni School of Pharmacy. We have a smart classroom facility, well-equipped laboratories, girls and boys, common rooms, sophisticated instrument laboratory, drug museum, library with sufficient number of books and desktops, land, Wi-Fi availability in full campus, qualified and experienced faculty. Then we offer courses that is B.Pharm, Diploma in Pharmacy. What is the minimum qualification? 10+2 passing science stream. And duration is 2 years. And the B.Pharm, Bachelor in Pharmacy, minimum qualification 10+2 science stream, or D.Pharm. Duration of the course is 4 years. M.Pharm, Master in Pharmacy, minimum qualification 10+2 with science stream, B.Pharm. Duration 2 years, including 1 year of the research work. And the PhD in any discipline or any specialization, or go for interdisciplinary too. An instrument available for research. Excited to see you all. I know. And okay, let's start. Then these are the instruments which we have to conduct our research work. Tablet punching machine, hoppers, oven, distillation apparatus, autoclavers, HPLC, etc. Now, who is the department backbone? That is our faculty members. So let me introduce them. We have different disciplined faculty. That is number 1, Dr. Yogin Singh, Professor and Director, MASOP, Dr. Mona Peplani, Associate Professor, Pharmaceutics, Dr. Ladli Kishore, Associate Professor, Pharmacology, Mr. Pankaj Biteja, Assistant Professor, Pharmaceutics, Mr. Navjot Singh Sethi, Assistant Professor, Pharmaceutical Chemistry, Ms. Monica Rana, Assistant Professor, Pharmacology, Ms. Swati Modgil, Assistant Professor, Pharmaceutics, Ms. Shivani Thakur, Ms. Ruchika Garg, Mr. Ankush Goyal, Ms. Preeti Awasthi, Ms. Anjana Devi, Ms. Deep Shikha, Ms. Shikha, Ms. Sujata, Mr. Pankaj Pawar, Mr. Arvind Kumar, Ms. Deepika Datta, Ms. Rishu Yadav, and Ms. Preeti Aneja, Ms. Bhavna Droon, Mr. Pankaj Kumar, Mr. Ankit Gupta, Mr. Atul Kumar, Ms. Manita Rani, and Mr. Abhishek Chambyal. These all are our faculty members. And events which are conducted by our university via virtual platforms are webinar on the topic challenges and opportunities of online education in pharmaceutical sciences. The key speakers was Dr. Pawan Krishnan, Professor, Punjabi University, Patiala, Dr. G. Jayabalan, Professor and the Principal, Alwar Pharmacy College, Alwar, Dr. Rajesh Yadav, Deputy Registrar, Rajasthan University of Health Sciences, Jaipur. Guest lecture on the topic, proud to be a pharmacist, by Dr. Suresh Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Punjabi University, Patiala. Alumni Meet 2021 on Microsoft Teams. Then expert talk on COVID-19, its current scenario and impact in children, by Dr. Manu Sharma, consultant pediatrician, Max Hospital, Mohali. Expert talk on recent aspects on alternate drug delivery system, Kam Singh Rathore, Professor, BN College of Pharmacy, Udaipur. Expert talk on national education policy and perspective on pharmacy education, by D. Jayabalan, Professor and the Principal, Alwar Pharmacy College, Alwar. And this is the memorable gallery of the School of Pharmacy, that is Pharmacist Day celebration by our students. Pharmacy Week celebration, Pharmacy Week celebration too. And visit to Central Research Institute, Kasoli, Himachal Pradesh. Health checkup camp by Institute of School of Pharmacy. Industrial visit by our students at Indoco. And this is the picture of guest lecture. Thank you so much. Thank you so much all for the precious time. Now over to you, Mona ma'am.
Thank you, Rishu, for such a nice presentation. Now I feel honored to request worthy director and convener of the program, Professor Dr. Yendra Singh Sir, to give vote of thanks to all the dignitaries and participants present here. Sir, you are the source of motivation and support for us. Without your motivation, we couldn't organize such program. Please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mona Piplani. Rishu, just unshare this. Rishu, unshare your PPT first.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.